Hi, my name is Katie Gapin. I am a paralegal here at the law offices of Kevin Jensen, and today I'm going to be walking through the steps of what an affidavit financial information is and how to properly fill out this form. As we go throughout this video, you'll learn what financial information is used for and how to properly fill it out. Through different counties where your case is at, you'll notice at the top of the form, it'll either indicate Maricopa, Pinal, Yavapai, Pima, wherever you're located. Is going to indicate what the form is. So there may be some different formatting depending on the county that you're in. We use an affidavit financial information because it's required for Rule 49. An affidavit financial information is oftentimes used to determine the income for child support, spousal maintenance, or attorney's fees. So on the form, the first things that we're going to do is fill out our names. Luckily, when you are provided this form, the top part will already be filled out. So your case number and oftentimes your name will already be indicated. As we go through this form, we will need to have you sign either electronically or in person the last page once you've properly reviewed and have determined that all the information listed is accurate. So as you fill out the instructions, I always highly suggest that people read this first box. If you do not know an answer or are guessing, please state that. If your question does not apply, write NA for not applicable to indicate you read the question. Round all amounts of money to the nearest dollar. So there's no need to indicate specific cents for each bill that you have. Answer the following question statements, yes or no. If you mark no, explain your answer on a separate piece of paper and attach the explanation to the affidavit. Oftentimes, suggest clients provide a Word document and send it over to us for review for that section. So as I'm going to be filling out, I always recommend clients come to this box last as we're going to be going through some more questions throughout the form. General information is going to be you, your date of birth, your current address. If you are a client that has a protective address, you're going to simply state that in this line. Your date of marriage, oftentimes people's cases do not, they're not married, so you would just put NA, same as for divorce. Last date of you and your party live together is a helpful date. So if you have an estimate, roughly the month and the year. A name of children and common to the parties and their date of birth. This is just for children that are under the age of 18. So oftentimes we get older people that come in and their kids are obviously aged out. There's no need to list their names and birthdays. Section F, the name, date of birth, relationship to you, and gross monthly income for each individual who lives in your household. If you have nobody living in your household, there's no need to list this information. But if you don't know the income of the party, just simply put NA. And then name of person whom you contribute support. So if you provide your kids with an allowance, or you're providing for your wife or your husband, this is going to be a proper line to fill that information in. Your attorney's fees, most often your attorney is going to have this information, so if you're unaware, just please put an asterisk and we will fill that in for you. Source is either if you've been paid your attorney by credit card, checking or savings account, or cash. Or even sometimes we do get people that have money that are lended from a family member. Employment information. So if you're a spouse or person that does not have a job, you're going to indicate unemployed. Obviously, there's going to be no need to fill out name and current employer because there is none. Same with for date of employment. And in this space here, you're still going to indicate unemployment. If you're not working, explain why not. So sometimes we get moms that come in that are a stay-at-home mom, or you may be retired, or you have a health issue that you're unable to work, so please just give a brief synopsis in this line. If you have worked in the past before becoming unemployed, please indicate the prior employer name and job occupation and title. If you have a rough estimate of the date your job began, that would be great. Usually people oftentimes don't remember, so a month and a year is going to be best for both these lines here. and reason you left job. So if you left because you had a baby, or you have medical reasons, or you ended up retiring, please indicate this line. Your gross monthly pay at your previous job is what it's going to be before your income was taxed. So your hourly wage times however many hours you worked for that month. Total gross monthly income for the last 3 years of your tax returns. Attach pages 1 and 2 of your federal income tax returns for the last 3 years. This section is really important as it does request that information up at the page 2. So how people can read their tax returns, it's going to be on page 1 and 2, and you're going to indicate these amounts for the proper year. Sometimes you do get clients that come in and haven't filed taxes, so you're just going to indicate simply on these lines if you have not filed. Please indicate if you have been filed jointly or separately for these years as well. Your total gross income from January 1st of this year to this affidavit financial information. If you are working, luckily on your pay stubs, you will be able to see this amount. So I always highly suggest clients look at their most recent pay stub, as it will indicate this amount for this question. Your education and training. So list name of school, length and time you were there, year of last attendance, and degree earned. So high school, obviously where you went to high school. And if you didn't end up graduating high school and obtained a GED, please indicate that as well as the year that you obtained your degree. College, so if you have gone to college, please feel free to list the college and what you went for and the year you graduated. If you haven't gone to college or received any postgraduate or occupational training, please indicate not applicable as explained above. Your gross monthly income. This is one of the biggest questions that clients oftentimes have questions with. So you're going to list all income you receive from any source, whether it's a private or governmental, taxable or not. List all income payable to you individually or payable jointly to you and your spouse. Use a monthly average for items that vary from month to month. Multiply weekly income and deductions by 433. Multiply biweekly income by 2.165 to arrive at the total amount of the month. So gross salary wages. You can either put your hourly, week, or monthly year, and then use the math up above to determine how you're going to calculate your wages. Expenses paid by your employer. This does not apply if your employer is not paying any of these expenses. So if you're paying your car payment not from your employer, you're not going to list your car payment on this line. There is going to be a separate page that indicates this question. So if they are paying these are the proper lines to fill out that information. Commission and bonuses. Oftentimes people receive commission or bonuses either yearly, sometimes monthly, or even hourly. I do ask that clients just indicate an asterisk as to how often and how much they are paid for their commissions and bonuses. Tips, the same as well. So if you receive your waitress and receive tips, you're going to put a rough estimate as far as monthly goes, but please indicate an asterisk and let us know that it does vary. Self-employment income, there's going to be a section down below. Social Security benefits, it usually applies to older couples and what you receive each month. Workers' compensation and disability income, same thing. Unemployment compensation, we don't see this quite often, but if you are receiving unemployment, please indicate an asterisk for this amount. Gift and prizes, usually oftentimes we don't have an amount for this, as employers don't usually offer this. Payments from your prior spouse, so if you are receiving spousal maintenance, this is a section that you're going to fill in and provide that income. Rental income, so if you are lucky enough to have multiple properties and are receiving monies from that company, you're going to list this as well. contributions to household living expenses by others. So if somebody is helping you out throughout the month, this is going to be a line that you're going to list that monies that you're receiving each month. Others, so sometimes people receive trust income, annuities, or pensions, and you're going to explain where each of these are from and the monthly amount. Once you have properly listed all these lines, you're going to total your amount for your monthly income here. Self-employment income. So this depends solely if you are self-employed. If you do not own and are not self-employed, this is not something that applies to you. So you would simply just put NA. And then you're going to attach a copy of your Schedule C for your business tax for the last year return and most recent income expenses statement for your business. I always tell clients that this is going to be a section that's going to be properly reviewed by an attorney. So go ahead and fill this out to the best of your knowledge, and then your attorney will take a look at it and touch base with you to see if you have properly filled out this section. Instructions. Both parties must answer item 6 if either party asks for child support. So this is a big section right here. The expenses only include those expenses for the child who are common to the parties. So oftentimes we get people that come in who have other children outside of who the case is dealing with. So please do not list those expenses. So Schedule 6 of all monthly expenses for children, do not list any expenses for the other party or children or lives with the other party unless you're paying for those expenses. Use a monthly average for items that vary from month to month. If you're listing anticipated expenses, indicate by putting an asterisk to the next estimated amount. So health insurance, obviously check yes or no, and if you are enrolled. Total monthly cost, go ahead and indicate this line. Sometimes if you are being paid through your employer, your HR department is going to have this information because it does indicate your premium insurance costs to insure you alone, and then the separate costs for the children common to the parties. I oftentimes tell clients to contact their employer as they will have a breakdown for each monthly cost expense. Your insurance coverage, so you're going to list yourself and your children if you have them covered, as well as any other spouse listed. Please also list your insurance name and policy and group number. And it's going to be the same for your dental and vision insurance. So the total monthly cost, your premium costs for just you, and then your premium costs for your children common to the parties. As up above, your HR department will have these numbers available should you have insurance through your employer. Unreimbursed medical and dental expenses. So costs to you after in addition to any insurance reimbursement. Medical and drug supplies. Oftentimes families do not have a monthly cost. But if your child does receive medical treatment or you receive medical treatment monthly that you do have to pay out of pocket for, this is the section that you're going to indicate these amounts. So depending on how often you receive this, please indicate an asterisk as required up above. And then you're going to add up your total cost here for this expense. Child care. So total monthly cost of child care costs. If you're projecting that you're going to have to pay child care, we do ask that you look around for child care providers near you and that you provide us a list of the potential expense statements associated with child care. And then you're going to indicate this line up above. If you are paying for child care, there is no need to list an asterisk, but if it is a future cost that you're going to have, an asterisk will need to be included. Obviously, the names of the children cared and the amount per child. If you are receiving child care through a third-party service, through their breakdown, they will have a per child cost. You will also need to provide the names, addresses of child care providers for the children stated up above. Employer tax program, oftentimes this is indicated as no, but if this does apply for you, please check yes. Court-ordered child support. For some reason, this is a big section that clients get confused on. So court-ordered child support, not common to the parties. The parties are being the people indicated on page 1. So if you're paying for child support, this is going to be a line that you're going to indicate. If you're receiving court-ordered cash medical support for children, not common to the parties, this is also a line that you're going to fill in. Reminding not common to the parties is not listed to the party on page 1. Amount for any arrears payments is the same thing. Attached per month actually paid in the last 12 months. So if this is appropriate to you and you are paying child support for outside of the parties, you will need to get your case history child support list and indicate the full amount. Name and relationship of minor children who you support or live with you but are not common to the parties. Keeping in mind that on page 1, if you have children outside of the people listed on page 1, this is the children that you're going to list, not your current children between the parties associated with this case. Court-ordered spousal maintenance support you actually pay to previous spouse. So this only applies if you're paying for somebody else. This is not a line that you're going to indicate if you are receiving current spousal maintenance or asking for it. Extraordinary expenses for children. So if your children have special education or special needs programs that they attend monthly, this is going to be a line that you're going to fill in. This does not apply to your children. You're going to simply indicate NA. For self, if you are seeing special classes or bettering yourself, this is going to be a line that you're going to use here. Instructions, both parties must answer 7 and 8 if either party is requesting spousal maintenance, division of expenses, attorney's fees and costs, adjustment of deviation of child support amount, or enforcement. So as we briefly explained in this video, just about every client that comes in the door will have to fill out an affidavit of financial information. Section 7, schedule of all monthly expenses. Do not list any expenses for the other party or children who live with the other party unless you are paying for those expenses. Keyword being unless you are paying for those expenses. So do not indicate or lump sum together as if you are living as a married couple. Use a monthly average for items that vary month to month. If you are listing anticipated expenses, indicate by putting an asterisk next to the estimated amount. Housing expenses, so house payment. If you have a mortgage, this is going to be the first line that you list. If you do not have a mortgage and are renting, you're going to indicate the number 0. Same with a second mortgage or homeowners association fees. If you do pay term association fees, you are going to need to divide it by 12 months out of the year for the total of how you pay. Rent, same thing. If you don't have a mortgage, second mortgage, you're going to indicate how much you pay monthly. If you are not paying any of these expenses, please list the number 0. Same thing for repair and upkeep. Monthly average cost is great. I understand that sometimes these are not expenses that come up monthly. Same with yard work, pool, or pest control expenses. If you do pay for all 3, please add the total monthly amount for all 3 and indicate it on this line. Insurance and taxes not included in the house payment. If you do not have an house payment, please indicate 0. Any other expenses related to associating with your rent or mortgage that are not listed up above, please explain and indicate the amount. You're going to add your total from 1 to 5 and indicate on this line. Utilities, so water, sewer, and garbage. If this is something that is lumped in your rent, please put an asterisk here and indicate that it does include in your rent payment. Obviously, if you're paying for all three of these, we're going to need the total for each bill in a monthly average. Same for electricity and gas. Telephone. Oftentimes people do not have home phones anymore, so this is going to be 0, and your mobile phone is going to be through your phone carrier, so Verizon or T-Mobile or AT&T. If you are paying for the whole monthly plan, say if your wife and kids are on this phone plan and you are paying the full bill, please indicate that amount. But if you're only paying a portion of the full monthly amount, please indicate only that portion. Your internet provider, same thing, your monthly amount here. Cable, satellite, and television. Oftentimes people do not have cable anymore, so you're going to indicate 0, but on this line here, if you have Netflix or Hulu, you're going to explain what that is and the amount that you pay each month. Again, totaling up just section B of these lines and the amounts indicated up above for monthly total. Food. This gets to be tricky. Sometimes people over-exaggerate their amounts that they pay for food. So I always suggest that clients go back through their bank statements and total up their grocery trips or their eating out expenses before filling out this line. Oftentimes it does vary depending on how many kids or people are in the home. School lunches is going to apply to kids, and if you put money on their account each month, and meals outside of home. So you're going to do a grand total of section C. Clothing. Oftentimes people do not pay for clothing each month. So I always tell clients to do an on average, typically give about $40 depending on the person and how much they spend. Uniforms or special work clothes. Nurses oftentimes have to buy their own scrubs, or construction workers have to buy special footgear. So just on average, how much you pay per month for those types of things. Clothing for children living with you also varies depending on how many kids you have associated to your case, so please just indicate an asterisk, as we all know that these amounts may vary from month to month. And same with laundry and cleaning. And then you're going to do a total of these lines for subsection D. Transportation automobile expenses. So this is also a tricky one that clients oftentimes have trouble indicating. Car insurance. So if you're paying for your spouse's car insurance per month or in a 6-month or 3-month premium, you're going to indicate what the total amount is just for one single month. Granted, if you are paying for both coverages. List all cars and individuals covered. So maybe your spouse and their vehicle, or just you. Car payment, if any. If you are paying for 2 car payments, I always tell clients to put a backslash and indicate each payment if you are making both payments at the time of filling this affidavit of financial information out. Car repair and maintenance. This is not a common one, but if this is something that you do have to utilize each month, put an on average expense and indicate that with an asterisk. Gas and oil, I always tell clients to go back through their bank statements and total up how many times they go to the gas station each month to then provide an accurate average. Obviously, it depends of how far you travel for work, and so you may have to indicate an asterisk on this line as well. Bus and parking fees, same thing, depending on where you're working and how often you use these services. Other, there's really not any other explanation that we see a ton, but if you do have something that applies for just subsection E, please indicate and explain, and then the total monthly amount as well. Once you've listed all these expenses properly, then we're going to total up just for subsection E. Miscellaneous, so school supplies, and if you do pay for any other schooling, you're going to indicate a monthly average. School activities or fees, extracurricular activities, this gets to be an expensive one. So on average per month, how much you pay towards these extracurricular activities. Same thing with church contributions, newspapers or magazines, barber and beauty shop, life insurance. So if you are paying for life insurance each month, you need to indicate who the beneficiary is on that policy. Disability life insurance as well. Recreation and entertainment, again, a monthly estimation. Children's allowances, if applicable. Union and professional dues, if applicable. Voluntary retirement contributions and savings deductions. If you do get retirement taken out of your monthly checks, you're going to refer to your pay stubs to get an accurate amount for line 12. Same thing with family gifts. I always tell clients to go back through their bank statements and see if they consistently give family gifts throughout the month. Pet expenses, cigarettes and alcohol, and any other miscellaneous expenses as not indicated above. You're going to go ahead and total up this line as well as the bottom of page 10 for a grand monthly total. If you do not pay for any of these expenses, please provide a $0 amount. And if you have indicated any asterisks on any of these lines, your total amount is going to indicate an asterisk as well. Letter 8, outstanding debts and accounts. List all debts and installment payments you currently owe, but do not include items listed in item 7. So what that means, if you have a car payment listed up above in item 7, you are not going to indicate your outstanding loan balance for your car. Same thing with a mortgage payment. You're not going to indicate your outstanding balance on your mortgage as you indicated a payment up above. So oftentimes I ask clients if they have any outstanding medical debt, student loan debt, credit card debt. You're going to explain a brief purpose of why you obtained the debt, the unpaid balance, your minimum monthly payment, the last date of your payment, and the amount of your payment. And we are done. Although this says page 11 out of 12, the 12 pages indicates if you have used a separate form of paper for any of the expenses up above. We're always here to help, so please do not hesitate to contact the law offices of Kevin Jensen for any assistance you have during your matter.